What is up, guys? Fado82 coming at you with a weekly Rust update video. What you're taking a look at right now is a seasonal item that has been added into the game. It's a Halloween jack-o'-lantern. There's two different variations. There's a happy one and a sad one, and right now they're going to be fairly common drops that you have to acquire from hitting barrels. You can't grow them, and they will become an uncommon drop in the future, so go grab them while they're hot, start hitting some barrels. And there's been some big changes to the building in Rust with this week's iteration. In addition to some new sound effects when you're going ahead and upgrading building parts, you're going to notice that the stability mechanics have changed a bit. Now if you go ahead and add something after you've already built your building, it will upgrade the stability. This is a really big thing, guys, and it's been much needed for a long time in Rust. This can't be stated enough that how much of an important game changer this is. Really important. In addition, you can now walk under foundations, as you may have noticed. This is pretty cool, and it does open up some interesting building possibilities. Holdation and I did some experimenting, and we found you could build sort of makeshift tunnels or bunkers by placing signs on the outside of wooden foundations. Because you can now walk under those foundations, you can go ahead and do some interesting things with it, and I'm hoping to see what you guys are able to come up with. Just from some initial testing, we built a bit of a shooting gallery here where Holdacious placed some signs lower and was able to shoot from them. And if you go ahead and place the signs higher, you can make a bit of a tunnel where you can get in between your buildings and your bases a little bit more discreetly. And that's really cool to see stuff like this added into the game. You guys can go ahead and experiment with it. You might be able to find some more cool mechanics to use, but as of right now, this is pretty cool. You can build big tunnels, small tunnels, and if you go ahead and use anything above the wood foundations, you won't be able to do this, so just keep that in mind. If you upgrade to stone, you're not going to be able to get that space under the foundation to get to. In addition, guys, there's been some fixes to some exploits that were using foundations before. You can no longer place your building cabinets under your foundation, so you can't hide them. Sorry guys, that exploit has been fixed. And everyone's favorite monument, the globe, has received some love in this week's version of Rust. In particular, some ladders have been placed in key points inside the monument to allow players to traverse it in a much easier fashion. That's something that was needed because it was a bit hard to get up through. This could change in the future, but as of right now, guys, keep your eyes out for these new ladders. In addition, you guys are going to notice there's some new artwork that's been added into Rust this week. In particular, the placeholder lock model that was in place before has now been updated by the in-house art team, and it has a much more aesthetically pleasing rustic look to it, which is something that really helps to draw players into the atmosphere of Rust. The F2 menu has been moved. You now have to hit the escape button to access an options tab. You can then go ahead and change your graphics, your input, your audio, or your performance settings. So that's something that's going to take a bit of a getting used to, but just keep that in mind with this week's version of Rust. Also, you're going to notice that rivers now flow into the ocean in a much more streamlined manner, and it looks a lot more aesthetically pleasing. In addition, the overall water effects are much more vibrant and alive in this week's version of Rust. In particular, the reflections, especially at night, are really going to blow your mind. If you can stop and appreciate it and take it all in, it really helps to draw you into the world of Rust, and this is really cool stuff. Guys, you're going to notice in this week's version of Rust that there's some new updated effects with the grenade, the bean can, grenade, and also with the C4. So it now has some updated explosions effects, and you guys are going to go ahead and notice that that looks a little bit different. Cool stuff, not a game changer in any way, shape, or form, but is good stuff nonetheless. In addition, you're going to notice that this week's patch has heavily focused on performance. They're looking into that memory leak, looking into lots of different things, and the changelog really reflects here. You can see the word fixed used quite a bit there. They fixed quite a number of bugs, and this is really something that's much needed. The update doesn't seem very forward-facing, but it's on the back end something that was very time and labor intensive. You just took a look at an M249 model there for a gun, which is going to be the saw that will be added in. This is some artwork for dungeons that will be upcoming soon, and we will see that turret hopefully in 2 weeks. It was hard to wait for and hard to hear that it wasn't in this week's update, but we hope to see it soon. As always, guys, Fado82, peace.